Hello everyone and welcome to the Queensland Social Enterprise webinar Active Learning Lunch. My name's Leanne Bottleworth and today I'm going to take you through Social Enterprise 101 as well as a tour of the QSEC website, resources, regions, events, things like that. So stick around with me for that. The first thing I'm going to do is acknowledge the Turrbal and Yagara people as the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm meeting today, but all across Queensland and Australia, we do acknowledge and pay respects to the traditional owners, and we pay respects to the elders, customs and creation spirits, and we acknowledge the important role Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people play within the QSEC community. So my name's Leanne Butterworth, and I'm the Learning and Development Specialist here at QSEC. I'm a lecturer at QUT. So this summer, we've got 69 students enrolled in summer semester, generally first year business students learning all about social enterprise. And I also have my own Social Traders certified social enterprise called Empathy First. So if you'd like to contact me, I'm at leanne@qsec.org.au. Now, really quickly, go grab a pen and paper, press pause, go grab a pen and paper, and you'll be able to do our next activity. So Queensland Social Enterprise Council is a member-driven organisation, which means we exist to serve our membership. Now, the way that we do that, we have our 5 pillars, which is we connect them to each other, we connect them to resources, we support our social enterprises, we create learning opportunities, both through webinars, in-person events, our online learning centre, our resources. We share what our social enterprises are doing because we love our social enterprises, and we want to create opportunities to bring customers to our social enterprises, but also we advocate on behalf of our social enterprises for to business and to government and to corporates. So quite often a business will say to us, what is social enterprise? And we'll go through and we'll say, look, here's what it is and here are the opportunities to get involved. But we also advocate for the sector, and that's a huge piece of the work that we do. So let's get into Social Enterprise 101. This is the way that I define social enterprise. So whenever I'm teaching social enterprise whenever I'm teaching social enterprise to my students or to prospective businesses or to people who are pitching, this is the model that I use. So when I look at any social enterprise, and all social enterprises, we all begin with the same piece of the puzzle, which is this do good piece. So all social enterprises aim to solve a problem and measure impact, so what impact we've had on that problem or issue, and it usually aligns to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Now, they are a set of 17 goals that were established back in 2015 in order to give a language and a target and a direction to the issues that are existing in the world at the moment. So what it does is it helps us give language to the types of things that we're working on as social enterprises. In that space, we have beneficiaries. So if we think of a big social enterprise such as Who Gives a Crap, they began in order to solve sanitation issues in Fiji. They did not start to sell toilet paper. The issue they wanted to solve was sanitation in Fiji. Therefore, their beneficiaries are the folks in Fiji who would benefit from better sanitation. Now, that is SDG 6, which is clean water and sanitation. So you can see there, that's why they started the business, and they have beneficiaries who are directly impacted by their work. And they would be able to measure the benefits of their work to their beneficiaries. In order to pay for that, we've got Do Well, which is they generate revenue, and all social enterprises generate revenue by selling a product or service. They are their customers. Go back to Who Gives a Crap. They sell subscription-based toilet paper, and their customers are you and me. Now, the third piece of the puzzle is Be Good. So social enterprises aim to conduct our business in a ethical, sustainable, well-governed way. So who gives a crap, for example, they don't use plastic, they use recycled paper or bamboo, and they have ethical, sustainable delivery methods and packaging. Okay, do good, do well, be good. Now, in that space, what you may also hear of are corporate social responsibility and B Corps. They exist in the do well, be good space. They don't start their business to solve a problem. They still start their business to make money. They just do it in a more ethical way or a more sustainable way. So a big example of a B Corp is Ben & Jerry's. Ben & Jerry's did not start to solve a problem. They started to make money and sell ice cream. They've just gone through and become B Corp certified, which means that they conduct their business in an ethical, sustainable, well-governed way. Social enterprises can also be B Corps because we're businesses like any other. We can also get the certification to say that we conduct our business in a be good way. So in that ethical, sustainable way. And that's where the B Corp certification comes from. So if an organization is a social enterprise, it could also be B Corp certified. If it is a regular corporation, business, generally, it'll start with do well, and then be good is part of their business. It's almost an afterthought, but we don't say that. So officially, here's the definition. A social enterprise is a business that has a social mission embedded in the DNA of the business to directly address social, cultural, environmental needs. Do good, rather than indirectly through social responsible business practices such as corporate philanthropy, ethical wages, and environmentally friendly operations. So that's differentiating do good and be good. It is an enterprise, do well, deriving a majority of its revenue through trade of socially and environmentally sustainable products or services rather than through grants, donations, or gifts. So you can see that definition then includes do well, be good. Okay, so they want to sell something, but it's something that is socially and environmentally ethical, sustainable. It invests the majority of its expenditure and or profit to fulfill the mission. It does not drive the majority of its profit to its shareholders. It goes back to do good. In Australia, there is no legal model of social enterprise. Social enterprises can be for-profit or non-profit or a co-op. But if we have a look at this diagram here, you'll see traditional business. They're not interested in CR. They just want to make some money. That's over here. Pure profit, mainstream investors, profit goes to shareholders. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we've got that traditional charity. All their funding comes from grants, donations, bequests, endowments. Sitting here in the middle, we've got social enterprises. You can see off a little bit to the right, we've got our B Corps, and a little bit further, we've got our CSR. Same going this way. We go more towards the charity. We've got a little bit greater revenue versus grants. But we sit in the middle. We can be for-profit or non-profit, but we start with do good. Now, there are also a variety of business models within these. Some of the business models, for example, if we think about Who Gives a Crap, for example. Who Gives a Crap run programs in Fiji that are their own programs, as far as I know. And they generate revenue through toilet paper. So what they're doing is they're subsidizing their own programs through their revenue, and it's called a service subsidization model. Let's think of Good Beer Co., for example. They are an organizational support model because what they're doing is they're generating revenue, but they're giving it to a separate organization. They don't run the programs on the Great Barrier Reef. They give money to the Great Barrier Reef organization or foundation, and they take the money and do their impact with it. We've got employment models. Primary reason for existing is to employ people who have barriers to work, people with mental illness, refugees, excuse me, people with a disability, for example, older folks, younger folks. This is the employment model. We've also got, let's say, a market intermediary model, and that is connecting social enterprises with markets, with customers. Okay, so there's 9 of them. There's a website called 4 Lenses, and that talks about 9 of the different business models. So because there is no legal model, we have lots of opportunities for creativity, agility, in order to really create the impacts that we want to create, so long as our fundamental piece of the puzzle is do good, do well, be good. So we're just going to watch this video. Let me make sure that you can see.
Social enterprises are a wonderful model that aims to achieve some social outcomes as well as economic outcomes.
And for me, a social enterprise is that balance. It's balancing corporate and growth and traditional success measures for a business with impact and purpose and the charitable. We're commercially viable, you're creating jobs, but your motivation and your driver is about perfectly keeping them in balance at all times.
Increasingly, we're seeing businesses focusing on impact, but social enterprises make impact their business. You know, we're sort of ahead of the curve, if you like, in the social enterprise sector. That being said, other businesses will catch up with us.
I'm just going to have to work incredibly hard to not only pitch the business of who we are and what we do and why we do it, but to actually drive change.
I think we've grown up with this idea that somehow if you do good and you do business, that's harder. Why is it harder than doing bad? Like, why do we have to use resources in really destructive ways? It's actually where business, if we look at the history of business, this is where business started.
It is.
It's just that over the last 200 years, we have put this really narrow frame on what is important and what business is about.
Yeah, so for me, social enterprise is really about democratising the economy. It's about creating a fairer economy. It's enabling people who wouldn't normally be involved in mainstream employment to be involved. So people with disabilities, or perhaps refugees, or people from migrant backgrounds. But of course, social enterprise isn't just about employment-based businesses. It's also much, much broader than that. It could be an arts-based business, a cultural business, or an environmental business. So for me, social enterprise is key to making the world a fairer and really a kinder place.
You know, you've got to have a business element to it. There's definitely got to be a strong social element to it. And can you prove you're really delivering on addressing a really difficult social challenge or environmental challenge, I think.
For me, Substation is probably almost the ultimate model, where we're doing environmental good through electronic waste recycling, but we're doing social good through empowering people to be a better version of themselves. And that can be through volunteerism, it can be through just engaging with us, or it can be changing them to become employable people.
And I think as long as you've got your focus on your higher purpose, like why did you start that business? What's your why? So why did you start the business in the first place? What kind of problem are you solving? And as long as you've got your eye on that and you use that as a lens through which you make all your decisions, then I think, you know, you can rightly call yourself a social enterprise. We like to call ourselves a fairly broad church here at QSEC because we know that everybody's on a journey, an impact journey of some sort, and we're all at different stages on that. And we just want to encourage everybody to be part of it.
video. I love that video. And there's some really key players in there, but you heard them talk about these 3 pillars. So Emma Kate Rose at the end said, if you have your do good at your heart, then you can call yourself a social enterprise if you're creating revenue and doing it in an ethical way. So one of the activities you can do if you've got your pen and paper is draw yourself a big circle. If you have a social enterprise, or if you know of one, draw a big circle, split it into 3 pieces of pie, and then write down up in the top corner, what problem are you solving? What is the issue that is absolutely critical that you get right? So is it waste on the Great Barrier Reef? Is it the mental health of rural Queensland? All sorts of different issues. Is it sanitation period products? Is it people experiencing homelessness, or women over 55 experiencing homelessness? Whatever the issue is that really makes your eyes light up, and you go, oh, we need to do that now. Write that down. Write down, if you've got some stats, write that down. And then write down, who are your beneficiaries? If your business is a success, who benefits from you getting this right? Then in the bottom piece, write down, what do you sell? Who are your customers? What products or services do you sell? How do you generate revenue? Now, as social enterprises, we can get, if you're a not-for-profit, fundraising, donations. There are grants now available to for-profit and non-profit social enterprises, so we can get grants, but that's not our major driver of our revenue. Okay, so we can get them, but we don't rely on them. Okay, now in the third, I was going to say quadrant, that's not right. In the third piece of pie, write down the sort of things that you do in order to be ethical, sustainable, well-governed, empathetic. So for me, the problem I am solving and couched in the SDGs is 3, which is good health and well-being, 8, which is decent work, and 16, which is peaceful institutions. My beneficiaries are people in general, but people who attend my workshops and their networks. Okay, I sell workshops, online courses, in-person courses, all sorts of things, but primarily I sell workshops, empathy training workshops, empathy in writing, empathy in pitching, design, customer service, leadership, all sorts of things. My customers are, as a general rule, government and business. So I'm that sort of B2B, B2G model, business to business, business to government. Some individuals do buy my courses and coaching as well. How do I conduct my business in an ethical way? Is I use a lot of social enterprise in my supply chain. Hello Good World, Green Fox, who else do I use? House of Eden, Trademart, lots and lots of different social enterprises that I engage with so that I have impact in my spending. Single Use Ain't Sexy, that's another one that I use. Yeah, so my business uses a lot of social enterprises, Humanitics, for example. So take a moment, press pause, and have a bit of a scribble. Now, I'm going to take you through the QSEC website because, as we've seen, there's a lot to learn, and we've created a lot of resources for you here at QSEC in order to help you build your business, get more customers, find more opportunities. So I'm just going to stop for a second. I'm going to stop sharing, but I'm about to take you through the directory, the regions, the resources available to you, events, how to find them and how to get found, the online learning centre, and then we'll touch on social media at the end. I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to start sharing this screen. All right, let's go home. Here we go. So this is the QSEC homepage. Alrighty. So where we want to go is, let's go to the directory first. So this is the homepage. That video we just watched with Emma Kate, that's just there. So if we go to the directory to start with. Now, like I said, one of the ways that we can create secondary or indirect impact is to use, or in our Be Good piece, is to use social enterprises in our supply chains. So one of the best ways to find social enterprises is if we clear my search here, because I was just playing with it. you can see we can have a look in the directory for all of the social enterprises in Queensland who are members of QSEC. So if we have a look here, we do have social enterprise members. We also have associate members, and they're people who don't have a social enterprise but who support the sector. They might be other businesses, they might be individuals, they might be students, they might be just people who are interested in the sector. So they're our associates. So if I'm going to search for, let's say, social enterprise, now you can see here this says servicing. So it's not where they're based, it's where they service. So I'm going to look for Townsville in North Queensland. I'm going to look for a cafe, right? I want to buy a coffee in Townsville in North Queensland that's a social enterprise. So I'm going to go servicing. And then I'm going to scroll down to my categories, catering, cafe, restaurant, bar. You can see I've got 6. We've got Eats Restaurant, we've got Help Enterprises, we've got Gerald, and I don't pronounce that because I will butcher it, I apologise. We've got Nice Coffee, Red Door Community, and Uplift Affordable Housing. So they're also in catering. So let's have a look. Let's go Nice Coffee, for example. Now, because I'm logged in as Leanne at Empathy First, I can see Jim's first and last name. The general public don't get to see that. But you can see Nice Coffee. Nice Coffee is a social enterprise that supplies our coffee and machines to offices, organisations and cafes across Australia. We use the profit to provide access to education to kids in Kenya. So you can see their do good is kids in Kenya, their do well is selling coffee, and they use only fair trade coffee as well. So really simple, effective way of not only creating impact by us buying their stuff, like through our supply chain, but you can see as a social enterprise, it's very simple and straightforward. They're aiming to, and Jim's lived there. It's an issue really close to his heart. So yeah, so that's Nice Coffee. So the directory we can get in and play with. What are we doing? If we go to the advanced search, for example, you can see where people are based. You could look up, we were talking about fabrics before. You could look up in somebody's description, contains the word fabric. And you can see Full Circle Fibre, so Merial pops up there. So there are lots of ways to use the directory. If you want to, you could have a look at who is attempting or working towards a particular SDG. So you could have a look at here. You can see the SDGs here. So you can see who's working on life below water, who's trying to solve zero hunger. We can do that in our basic search as well. Oh, I'm going to clear this search. So you can have a look over here as well. So you can say, show me all the social enterprises in central Queensland who are working towards zero hunger, for example. So that's the directory. I highly recommend getting and having a play. If you wanted law firm, I use Law on Earth. That's another social enterprise. Law on Earth, so law firms, electrical, coffee, corporate gifts, all sorts of different things. Anything you want to buy, check here first so that you can then have impact with your spending. And it does help your Be Good piece. Now, the next thing I do want to show you is if we wanted to see who's near to us, this is servicing, but if we want to see which social enterprises are near us, we could use the advanced search and go and look at the based in, or we could go and look at the regions. Now, we've divided Queensland into 12 regions. We do have some members who are outside Queensland as well. But what we can do is, let's click on Brisbane, for example. We can have a look. We've got a regional champion. So Tom Allen's our regional champion. We can see what events are coming up. And then we can also have a look at networks in this region. And we can see all of our members based in Brisbane. Same with all of the regions. So let's go far north Queensland. You can see our champion is Narayan. We've got some BDO financials coming up, and we've got networks in far north Queensland. And you can see all of our members based in both social enterprise and associate based in far north Queensland. Now, we talked before about, and feel free to reach out, get in touch, meet the people in your region. It's a great way to do it. So if we go now, we talked before about do good, do well, be good. And there's a lot to learn in that space. I mean, I've been doing this 4 or 5 years now, and there's a lot to learn. Now, one of the things that I did build, and the resources page is open to the public, is starting a social enterprise. Impact measurement and the Sustainable Development Goals. So if I mentioned the SDGs before and you went, I'm sorry, what? Start there. Go and see what the SDGs are all about. If you want to learn more about the circular economy, jobs-focused social enterprises. So jobs-focused, employment, work-integrated social enterprises, all the same thing. Their focus is on employing folks. We've got a page just for that. Our co-ops, our social procurement. This page is under development. It's not public. Only I can see it. And then mental health is another page. But if we go to starting a social enterprise, for example, there's some lovely videos and resources here on where on earth do I begin. So some lovely resources. This first one, the free Social Startup Studio Fundamentals course, is really good, really, really good. And then we've got lots of people who have said that they're able to help start up social enterprises, which is very cool. Same with circular economy, same with our jobs focused. You can see that there's lots of resources here for our jobs focused social enterprises, which is very cool. And then down the bottom, we've got all of our jobs focused social enterprises listed. Let's have a look. We've got Australian Spatial Analytics, who employ neurodivergent folks to do data analysis, and they are thriving. We've got Green Fox, we've got Ethne, there's Green Fox there. We've got Molthana, who are landscape and commercial cleaning and employ Indigenous folks to do that and do training. So it's amazing, amazing. So this page is very cool. Now, the next thing, so once we've looked at resources, just have a browse. Have a browse. I know there's a lot of information there. The next thing, let's say, okay, I want to go to some events. So if we go to our events page, again, this is a public page. The social enterprise events, this box here is a plugin from Humanitix. So we can see that there's lots of events to attend. So you can browse the events to attend. These are also in our newsletters. But the way that these folks have gotten up onto this page is they've registered their event with Humanitix, which is a social enterprise, and they've used hashtag QSOCENT in the title. So if you're a member, you can use the hashtag QSOCENT and your event will immediately appear on this page. Further down the page, we do have more events that we hear of that we put up on particular pages on this page, and we share them to our networks because we think they are good. So you can see we've got the Impact Boom have their event plus celebration and showcase event and pitch night coming up. So if you want an event listed, you can put it hashtag QSOCENT in your Humanitix title and it will automatically appear here. So let's move on. If we go over here, now I'm logged in as me. If we go over here to our members page. So this menu only appears when you are logged in as a member. And what you will see is you can click to edit your profile. You can explore the Learning Centre. We'll get to that in a second. You can engage in the forums. So this notice board here is a forum, and it's called the Notice Board Forum. We have a lot of forums where we share information with our members. And what you can do is you can see there's all sorts of information. There's grants, there's events, there's resources, all sorts of different things. Highly recommend subscribing to the forum, because what that then does is at night, if something has happened on the forum, you'll get an email at about 1 a.m. that says, hey, here are all the things. You can go in and have a look, or you can not. It's by no means every time something happens, you get an email. It's once a night if something happened. So we've got the QSEC notice board. We've got the jobs board. There's a professional forum. So if you've got a job that you'd like to advertise, we've got the professional forum. If you've got resources and things you'd like to share, help offered page. help wanted page, and then we've got the social and events forum. So if you don't use Humanitix for whatever reason, you can put the things that you're doing on the social and events forum. And we will go and have a look at the events page as well as this page when we're getting content for our newsletter. So let's have a look. So we're back on the members page. I do just want to quickly show you the grants page. This is an important one. So our members only get to see this page, and it is a page about writing grants. There's a lot of resources there about writing grants, as well as a list of upcoming grants listed by closing date, as well as members who can help you with grant writing. So you can see we've got a few folks here who are able to help with grant writing. So there's lots of good stuff happening on that page. So you just keep an eye on that page. Now, the other thing I do want to draw your attention to is the Learning Centre. So if I click on, let's go back here. If I click on the Learning Centre, it already recognises me because I've already logged in. Now, this is the QSEC Online Learning Centre, and what we did was we curated a number of courses and pulled them all together from experts in our field. So these are all social enterprise specific online learning courses. And we divvied them up into startup, so for our beginner social enterprises, our stand-up, so our teenagers, and then our stay-up, so our adult social enterprises who've been doing this for a while. They've got that stability. So let's look at startup for a second. Lots of different courses that you can do. So it might be bookkeeping do's and don'ts. It might be cash flow forecasting. What is the circular economy? How to do branding. And you notice most of these are like maximum an hour. Introduction to design and human-centered design. This is a lovely series by Griffith University, the Unis Centre, on real social enterprise basics. So measuring impact, business modelling, finance, legal structure, top tips, governance, getting to market. Let's load some more. We've got Introduction to Theory of Change. Now, I always recommend people go here. Quite often people will say to me, Leanne, I want to do grants. I say, have you got a theory of change mapped out? And they say, no. So start there. Leanne, we want to do impact measurement. Marketing, have you got a theory of change? No. Start there, because it's a really succinct way to communicate what you do, which makes marketing, grants, investor conversations much, much easier. So we've got planning with it, planning interviews, digital stories. So this is how to create compelling video for your social enterprise. And this one's a bit longer, but it really does step you through what to put in and how to do it. We've got On the Spectrum, Autism at Work. Now, if we go back, we'll go and have a quick look at what our big players could potentially learn about. And that's when we start to get into courses on social accounting, social return on investment, impact for impact investment, tender writing. And that's not to say you can't do it if you're a beginner. If you're interested, have at it. But then we've got the Impact Queensland Playbook, social procurement. Yeah, lots and lots of bits and pieces. Impact measurement reporting with social scaffolding. So lots of courses there for those players who are really now starting to look at that growth and scale. But the other things you can do is you can go to My Learning and you can save courses. So if you browse your courses, you can go and have a look and you can see I've saved Social Procurement Fundamentals. So if you're interested in certification, that's a good course. There was a page back on the resources all about social procurement and certification, and Tender Writing Kit. So yeah, so that's the Online Learning Centre. If you're not quite sure where to start, I always recommend some of those Baby Griffith courses about what is a social enterprise, as well as the Theory of Change session by Dr. Ruth Knight from QUT. Now, the last thing I do want to show you is up here, you can actually go into your profile. And a lot of people ask us how to get visibility on the Instagram page. So, or on any socials or be shared. So what we want to do is share what our social enterprises are doing with bigger networks. And really importantly, we need to know at QSEC that we have access to your photos, that it's okay to share things. So when you log in and when you look at your profile, there's a question right down the bottom. So this is mine, this is empty first. Right down the bottom, it says photography consent. I provide full permissions to my published content on QSEC. So anything on the Empathy First website, QSEC can share. Yes, I have consent. If there's any children in my photos, yes, that can be shared. Now, if I chose I provide partial consent, I need to put a link in here to where those photos are, because I don't know which photos we have access to. So if you say I provide partial consent, I don't know which photos we can share and which we can't. So putting them into a Dropbox or a link and saying you can share these photos on my behalf or these videos is really, really useful. If you've ticked partial and we don't know, you haven't put anything here, we don't know what we can share. So that does make it harder. The other way to get found on social media is to tag us in things, and we will be able to share them to stories and share them around. So that was a whirlwind tour. So we went through the homepage if you'd like to know about the board of directors. The AGM is coming up on the 14th of December. As social enterprise members, if you are a member, you'll be able to vote and attend either online or in person. We've got members. All right, so we went through the forums, the Learning Centre and grants. We said you can join if you're a social enterprise or if you're an associate. If you're not quite sure yet, you can do our little quiz on are you a social enterprise, and it gives you a bit of an idea. We looked at the directory, our events, our regions, our projects. So have a browse there, but QSEC Stories is a really good one if you want to learn more about what people are doing. And when you do watch their videos, listen to it with a do good, do well, be good mindset and go, can I tell? What problem are they trying to solve? What are they selling? And how are they doing it in an ethical, sustainable way? It's a task I get my students to do a lot. You can see here, impact measurement, circular economy, jobs focused, social procurement and certification. So if you're at the point of thinking about certification, there's a lot of information on there. So yes, so that is the tour. If you would like to contact QSEC, best way to do it is online at qsec.org.au. So let me quickly open up this one again. So we did cover the directory, the regions, the resources, events, Qualk, and social media. Now, if you would like to join, or you know other social enterprises that would like to join QSEC either as a social enterprise or an associate, everybody gets access to all of the resources. The only difference is social enterprises can vote at the AGM, associates cannot. But if you would like to join, if you use the code QSEC_friends, you can get 50% off your first year of membership. And that is it. My name was Leanne Butterworth. That was QSEC Whirlwind Tour of Social Enterprise 101 and the website and resources. If you would like to ask any questions at any point, head to online at qsec.org.au and Louise will be able to help you.